Morning. Yep. Sure is, right? Oh, this is like one long overdue video that is now becoming one long overdue and timely video. So, if you've been looking for footage from inside the razor company from when I went down there last month in person, that'll be here. There won't be any sound though, because a very special gentleman, Ken, aka the mostly vintage head shaver, I'll put a picture of him and I in right here. I look terrible, whatever. Was there, and he was talking to the staff, which was Zach and Crystal, I believe. And I didn't want to record their conversation. I mean, I have it, I just edited out the sound. So I know I already dealt with one video package and there'll be another one, but at least it'll be of the razor company and everything going on in there. So just don't worry about that. So anyways, so I filmed a video with the Henson. It was gonna be a voiceover video, which I know are your favorite. You guys love those, don't you? But I didn't love it. I had some issues. Basically the shaving cream that I picked up, I didn't check it first. It's basically soap now. And I was kind of using it for the first time and seeing how much water, it would take. Because I'd heard some of these creams, and when they go, they kind of turn into like a triple mill almost. Well, I had too much water initially. I'll put a little clip of me shaving with that in. I actually ended up adding a little bit of the cream for my travel size into it to make it better about halfway through the shave. So I was in love with that shave. Was not in love with it. Went to voiceover it a couple times. It wasn't feeling it. And then the razor company went and did something else. And that was Never Alone 2 with Ariana and Evans. I'm sure if you know what's going on in the world shaving, that you know about this and what it is and everything. I'll talk about the scent notes in a little bit. Obviously, that's Ariana and Evans pour. Just smells like and on paper it seems like a love letter to fall fragrance. I'm very excited about that. This is Kaizen 2. Haven't used Kaizen 2. Kaizen 2E, I think. Haven't used Kaizen 2 or Kaizen 2E. I don't think I've used Kaizen 2. Maybe I might have used Kaizen 2. I've definitely not used Kaizen 2E, but that's about to change in a minute here. Of course, you got the matching splash. And proceeds from that go to, it's Suicide Awareness Month. So the proceeds from that are split evenly, going to two different organizations, one in the United States and one in Canada, to help prevent suicide, which I think is important. Mental health in general. I'm a big proponent of my own mental health and the mental health of others and my children and my wife and strangers on the internet and people I love who I've never met in person, things like that. And I wouldn't be here if not for that. And I'll talk about that more in a few minutes here. I'm going to go get this set up and I'll be back. So stay tuned, because you're going to see the footage from the razor company. And when I get back, we'll get down to the shave. We're going to have a little talk about anxiety and depression and being a man in today's society and what that means and who gets to decide what that means, and failure. And basically I'm going to tell you my story about how you guys ended up having a look at this face. So if you don't care about that, then I think you're in the wrong community. Nice. It's a soft soap, softer than I expected. That seems to be the trend with new bases these days, like Omnibus by Barrister and Mann, which is a favorite of John and Fayez and I can't say it's favorite of Scott and Christian's. I can't say it's not, but this is nice. This was easier to work with than I expected to. Takes a lot of can take a lot of water, but I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. So anyways, and I'll do, I'll do a little voiceover thing here in a second. Talk about the notes and everything and a little bit more about what's going on with this, okay? So I'll give you about 30 seconds starting now. All right, so we're back at it again. Yeah, you like that, don't you? That's right. So, woody aromatic scent, which is pretty much dead on, I think. There's even some woods going on in there that I feel like I don't know I'm tracking them. But bergamot, grapefruit, lavender, cardamom, caraway, tobacco, sandalwood, oak moss, leather, amber. All good, blending scent. But this is just a scent that is like that. It just exists to be like amicable with all these scent notes. I feel like. Looking at the K2E ingredients, I did not realize there was beer in it. I'm actually gluten-free, not by choice. My dad has celiac, so he couldn't use it. I don't expect to get a dermatological situation going here so far. Emu oil. That one threw me. Slippery elm I get, but emu oil? Okay. But yeah, it whipped up really easily, applied very easily, and here we are. Okay, so that was way more than 30 seconds. Like I could lather my face in 30 seconds. Who am I, Scott? Okay, I was gonna just let future me handle that, but I gotta know. I mean, I really like it, and I'm the first one to admit most of the time that Ariane and Evans, sometimes their scents are a little too sweet for me. This isn't one of those. John. It's really well blended. I'm getting like a note. Yeah, get in there. Leather, oak moss is in the base. I'm trying to think of what the arching note is going on in there on the soap. I was almost getting like a pine vibe, but it's not what it is. I think it's the sandalwood. It's just really well blended. There's a lot of really good blending agents in here, as I'm sure I said in the little segment a second ago. But yeah, let's get it going. So also today, we'll be using, for the first time on the channel since I nixed that other video, the Henson in aggressive gray +++ with a second use German Schick DE blade. Those are John's current favorite. I like them. I don't know that I go out of my way again to get them, but all right. So let's just get it going here. The only thing I'll say about this, other than that I really like it, I liked it enough to buy one, is that you want to make sure it's tightened down good. Don't over tighten it, obviously. Don't over tighten any razor, but you're going to get your best performance on this if it's locked in, which it is. But yeah, so mental health. Let's talk about it. I mean, I'm not shy on the channel about having ADHD, which kind of came with a lot of lovely comorbidities that I didn't really deal with until really the last few years. Anxiety, big one. I know that basically, and I'm not gonna sit here and also getting lather out of this is a lot easier now. I'm not gonna sit here and torch people, but I kind of feel like when I was 5, they gave me a pill and said, okay, now act normal, act typical, which I'm not. But I tried so fucking hard to be. And you grow up and you wonder why you're good at this and this, but everyone else is so good at this, but you're not. You always forget this. or you say the wrong thing always and you can't help yourself, and you just feel bad about everything. Like, I'm a parent now, and I know that guilt is a tool to be used to get the behavior you want. But in the long run, especially for certain ailments that someone with ADHD, like myself, like my oldest son, might have, it's not good for the long-term mental health. Like, I had unmedicated, I am a very different person. You've seen my night shifts where the ADHD meds have more or less worn off. I still have a pretty good baseline going, I think, most of the time, but the impulse control and everything, that still, to this day, I don't know how many moments of cringe I have every day where I think about something that no one else probably ever will remember, ever, and I know I'm not alone in doing that. And it's like sometimes I even just like verbally say something, like I make a noise or say a word, because you get so caught up in it. Word of warning, if you are someone who easily experiences frag burn, I'm not getting frag burn, but I think that this scent might have might lean towards the frag burn crowd being not good for them. So anyways, hey, grow up, trying to be normal, never studying, always doing just fine, not being really good at math because you don't have the patience for it, not showing your work the right way, whatever, I don't know. Getting off keel here. So you grow up. And then fast forward to, late 20s Adam, where I am working full-time, married, have a infant, who's almost a toddler, and we're in school full-time. So basically, work all day, come home, be dad for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then do homework until I pass out or write a paper in 4 hours, which is my specialty. And then I was working I worked at the hospital, local hospital, for a long time, like 10 years. And at the time I was working as like I don't want to say a lead, but kind of a lead, and getting my degree in human resource management. And then I started making all these moves, talking to the right people, greasing the right palms, and a job came up as an HR assistant to go and work in the HR department at the hospital. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm like 3-4 months away from getting my degree in human resource management, my bachelor's. So like, let's go, let's get it. So the rule was that my current manager could hold me for a month. Well, in that month, they went from needing 1 human resource assistant to needing 3. So basically, when I finally was able to start, I was new. I had another new coworker, and then there was someone who was like subbing, who was supposed to teach us, and didn't really want to do that. So I'm a hands-on learner, and they were a watch me person, and I'm like, I'm not gonna pick any of this up until I start doing it. So 2 weeks in, they leave to go back to do whatever they're doing. And so I'm finally like really getting my hands on the material and everything. And it's okay, it's slow. It's like it would have been if I just started, right? Well, the person overseeing me at that time didn't like that that's where my progression was. So they started trying to change things. Well, let's make it easier. And I'm like, well, I need reps. I need if this is the job, just let me do it. And if I give me enough reps in it, I'll get it done. And I was doing things like not eating lunch, because I remember not punching out, but going to the cafeteria to have lunch one day and getting back and like getting odd looks from everybody. And I was kind of like, where's lunch? 30 minutes to go, decompress and talk to people about that aren't doing the job I'm doing and eat. And so I stopped doing that. And then eventually I stopped like eating lunch. Because one of my ADHD superpowers is hyperfocus. Well, when you're hyperfocusing and you're buried, that's not fun. So I even ended up like staying late to try to catch up on stuff. And it just wasn't getting any better. And I tried, every time I went to talk to the supervisor about, what was going on, they'd try to change what I was doing. So then I stopped doing that too. And then, just feel like a failure. And so like they basically gave up on me, which doesn't make you feel good. So I, long story short, ended up going back to my old manager and being like, this was a mistake. It's not working. And to be fair, I mean, I know what I did wrong now, like 5, 6, however many years later, and I know what they did wrong, and I accept what I did wrong and everything too. But no one there knew how to do the job. That was the biggest issue. Like, they're trying to teach you to do a job they don't know how to do. I don't think that's a good way to train new people. Like, I get like that maybe the manager doesn't know every little intricate detail about the job, but like my manager in my old department, if she had to, she could have gone out and worked any of the jobs in any of the departments or any of the areas she oversaw. So I, went back to them with my tail between my legs. Felt horrible, absolutely horrible. And, which was compounded, I found out years later, like a couple years ago, realized I have this lovely addition to ADHD called RSD, which is rejection sensitive dysphoria, which basically means that every little thing that you feel bad about, you feel way worse. You like feel it on like a physical level. It's a lovely disorder that goes hand in hand with ADHD, and I had no idea it existed, and I've been feeling so bad about everything in my fucking life that didn't go right, which isn't an abnormal amount. I mean, I'm doing fine. I have a wonderful wife, wonderful family, great parents, good job now and everything. So I'm not sitting here to be like, my life is shit wall to wall or anything like that. But when I do fuck up, I feel so bad, and I could not, and like to the point of where you don't even want to try sometimes. So I went back to that job. I transferred to a different adjacent department, and I stayed for years. This is, we're talking years. And when COVID came along, I started during H1N1 in healthcare, and then COVID came along 2020, end of 2019, and I was just like, I'm so sick of this. We won't go into that, but I got an opportunity to go work with my wife at our current employer, and I just was like, yeah, I'm done. I don't want to work in healthcare anymore. I don't want to work in the HR department here. I don't really want to work in HR at all. And there's no upward trajectory in this department that I'm in, and I don't have a degree that's in the actual like patient care side of healthcare. I don't have a degree in that side, so it's not really a lot of other departments outside of the one I'm in HR that I can go up in. So I left, and I've been just so good. So I get to work with a lot of students now who are non-traditional now. School doesn't work. In-person school doesn't work for them for whatever reason, or they have children, or they have crippling anxiety, or they have terrible ADHD, or they went to a school system where if you don't fit in their little box, they just kind of throw you away. Things like that. And it feels good to be able to help a kid get to graduation and have them really mean it and say thank you for, pushing me. I'm not teaching the subject. I'm a mentor. So I'm there to help. I'm there to coach. I'm there to be their biggest fan, which I am, and all of that. And it feels good to do that. But how did I end up here? I guess I should circle back to that real quick, huh? Give me a second. So when I left the HR debacle is what I call it. I started kind of getting into my hair, but it wasn't like that early stages, like when you're early stages of shaving where you're not very good at it. So I finally joined a Facebook group. First Facebook group I ever joined was Everything Pomade. That was interesting, the first couple years there. But I met some really great people. 2 people, Parker, Jason, love you guys, who I don't want to say helped save my life, but we've never met in person. One lives over in the New York area, the other one lives in Florida, but we talk every day. You know, we're there for each other. And that was like really the first time that I bonded with people in a community that I don't normally, you know, I don't see on a regular basis. And then somehow someone was talking about wet shaving and the pomade group, and then I started getting into wet shaving, and now we're here. And, you know, I get to see Scott every once in a while. Jonathan's actually going to come over and go fishing, I think, with Scott up here. So I'll get to meet Jonathan too. But like, you know, Sac and Phi, they're, you know, Georgia and Carolina respectively. And, you know, maybe we'll meet one day, but I don't know why I'm doing this on my whole face. I just want to shave one area down here. That other thing I'd say, it's very easy to overshave with the Henson +++. So if you're not normally a 3-pass person, at least all over, I don't recommend becoming one of the +++. Anyways, I got really into hair, really into grooming, got into wet shaving, got into knives somehow too. That's over. I still like knives, but I don't buy them anymore. And then, you know, started making videos, you know, on my own. And then Scott kind of recruited me, and now we're here. Now we're here, and I love it. And what I really love about being on a channel with these guys is that, like on my own channel, you know, it's like when I start anything, it's like a new hobby. So when I started, everything was great. And then you get a little derailment and you lose your momentum. You try to come back, but then you lose your momentum again. And when you're on a channel with 5 guys, you know, John's basically went from not creating any content to creating the lion's share of the content on a weekly basis. Sac, when you do shave, your content's always good, bro. And we love you, and you just do what you can, man. You're a busy man. Busy man. Faya's finding the time when he's barely got time to sleep because he's out saving lives and everything. And Scott's on the road like 24/7. So, you know, we just do our best. And that's all, you know, as I say to my students, like, you do your best every day, but your best doesn't have to look the same every day. And I don't know how it could. You know, there's only so much in the bucket at the end of the week here. You know, I'm taking the time. My wife's waiting for me to go and work. I told her I got to do this video. I got to be available to my son during the week in case he needs support at school, which you know, that's what I'm here for. I'm working at home doing that. So I don't really have time to make videos outside of the weekend anymore. So Friday mornings are what I'm going to shoot for. So I just want to say thank you to the razor company at Ariana Evans for bringing this men's health and mental health especially, and wellness. People talk about wellness and they just think of your health and everything, but it's so many things. It's, you know, I don't always eat right. We were eating right for a while over the summer, lost like 10 pounds, kept it off so far, but the holidays are coming and I'm scared a little bit. Give me a second. Just sitting there with soap all over my face. I don't have no intention. And I forgot, it's been so long since I bought an actual set. We gotta get to the splash. You know, don't even remember what I was talking about a second ago. Don't even remember, and that's okay. But do your best every day. Your best doesn't have to look the same every day. I front load my weeks. And then I got something easy to make for dinner on Fridays. Or we get dinner out. I think we're trying to decide what we're gonna make tonight, but yeah, I didn't get the first one last year, but this one, definitely not too sweet, Ariana Evans. It's a good job. Anyways, I just want to say thank you to Jason and Peter, and apparently Justin, I guess, for, you know, and if you're feeling you know, down. I mean, we're here. The community's here for you. I mean, we gotta take care of each other, guys. And you gotta give yourself some slack sometimes. Give yourself a little grace, because at the end of the day, even if you fuck up and you feel really bad about it, chances are there's someone that still cares about you, okay? You know, whether it's your family, your friends, or your shave buddies. And you know, if you don't know who that person is, they just haven't found him yet, okay? I mean, I went through almost 30 years of my life without two of my best friends. And it's crazy to think about now, living life without them. Well, as always, we're gonna call that a shave. So thank you for coming by. I think there's gonna be a restock coming soon to the razor company, if it hasn't already by the time this video airs, of this. And again, if you're sensitive, like frag sensitive, or you get frag burn easily, I would proceed with caution, because I think that, I don't know if it's the cardamom and everything else in there, but there's something in there that I think might blow you up. I'm noting it. I'm not getting frag burn from it, but I would just save yourself some potential heartache. Now, granted, if you buy it, the money is still going to a good cause. But if if you don't want to get burned in the meantime, I'm sure that you can just send your money directly to those organizations instead. All right, guys, take care, and we'll catch you next time.